So for those of you watching on YouTube, thanks for watching on YouTube. This is going to be a recording of the podcast, and you're going to hear what everybody else hears on the radio once we cut it down. Actually, I probably won't edit this one. So if we screw up, if you drop an F-bomb, you're going to hear the whole thing.
I told myself I'd try not to this time.
Yeah, I know. I had to delete one in the first. Oh wait, I'm not recording. All right, now we're recording the audio, so it should sound much better for you on the YouTubes. People are watching it on YouTube. They're not watching the whole thing, but they are watching a little bit.
Cool.
All right, so let me go over to my show notes, and we'll get started. Ready to roll?
Ready to roll.
Hello, friends. So glad to have you here on the All Terrain Podcast once again. This is the show about going places where I, Mike Henderson, invite adventure travelers of all kinds to come in so I can kick their tires. This is episode 3, and today we're talking to our friend Alex Bizzack. Alex is a student in EMT. EMT is right?
Yep.
EMT, correct. Who is always out exploring remote areas and ghost towns of northern Nevada in his Dodge truck. Mm-hmm. You can find him on YouTube on the Full Size Overland channel, where he chronicles his adventures through the epic landscapes of the West and talks about overlanding in a big truck and overlanding on a budget. Alex Bizzack, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, good to have you here. So you're what we call a young feller in the parlance of our time, but you're no stranger to the bush and getting out there on the weekends.
No, actually, I started about a year ago in my overland travels. I grew up camping and with my parents when I was younger, and then I stumbled upon a couple YouTube videos and was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. So I gave it a shot, loaded up my truck, and just got hooked from there that first trip. Right, so you didn't... how many light bars did you have before you went out the first time? Not a single one.
No light bars.
Not a single one. It used to be a show truck,
right?
But no, now it's more about the function.
Cool. Somebody's bugging me about something on the messages, but I'll tell them to hush. What brought you? So you just recently moved to Nevada, like at the beginning of the summer, right?
It was December 12th.
Oh, that's not anywhere near the summer.
I graduated from my college up in Western Washington, and wanted to move back closer. I grew up in the Bay Area, so I wanted to be back closer to home and over to Tahoe, but didn't really want to live in California again. So
right.
Nevada was a close second. They had a good EMT paramedic program, so I've been working on that. So I graduated the 9th of December, and I was in the truck moving on the 11th, I think. Yeah. I was not sticking around longer than I had to.
No, so what, you didn't like it up in Oregon, or just wanted to get out?
I just wanted to get out. I wanted to be back closer to home. 4.5 years away from your family is an awful long time.
What would you major in college?
My major was linguistics with a concentration in psych, and then I also got a minor in Spanish.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about the unofficial desert rally that we did back in July?
I believe it was
was fun.
June or July.
Where'd we go for that?
So we went up to Lovelock, Nevada, which is about 3 hours from here?
Oh no, it's not even 2 hours.
It's close. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it seems like a lot longer
it's
drive.
Close.
So we went out there. We went to tunnel camp, and we set up a big base camp at the old ghost town. And Zach Leander and I and JM, we all went out a couple months before and found a bunch of cool spots we wanted to show people. And so we wrote down all the coordinates, and we got as many people as we could. And we told them to meet us at the ghost town, and that we would have some coordinates for them to go race to in the middle of the night. And I think we finally sent you guys off at like 11 o'clock.
It was
at
late,
night.
yeah. It was late.
It was dark, and it was a lot of fun. We had a really good time.
It was fun. Yeah, it was a decent campsite. There was a little bit of beer drinking, a little bit of tomfoolery, and
there always is.
Well, yeah, it was more than a little bit of tomfoolery.
More than a little bit, yeah.
That was fun. Are we gonna do that again next summer?
Yeah, that's definitely gonna become an annual thing, because that was way too much fun.
And where can we find out about it? So we can find out about that. Obviously, follow you on the Instagram.
Yep, Instagram and YouTube. I'm Trucker Biz on Instagram.
Right.
I haven't made the switch to Full Size Overland.
There's somebody else that's got it.
Yeah, there's a Full Size Off Road or something like that. There's a lot of Full Size blanks.
I just stay with Trucker Biz. That's fine.
It's easy enough. But yeah, so I'll post about it on there, and then if you guys are members of Overland Bound, we'll post about it again up there, because that's how we got the word out last time.
Yeah, it was Overland Bound in one of the trip planning forums or something.
So we have a California, Nevada monthly overland trip, which hasn't really been a monthly thing in the last couple months. We haven't really posted one.
Well, it's because like Zach and JM and Michael just go off and do something, and you'll see the pictures. Of course, I don't really pay close attention, but
no, they like to do their own thing, but we've been trying to do it, but I've just been too busy to plan trips. I haven't gone out in like 2 months now, so I'm getting a little itchy.
Yeah, me too.
So,
all right, so let's get into the meat of the things and go through the questions that we're all familiar with at this point. So, friends or family, who do you roll with?
I'm actually usually with friends. Before I moved down here, I was pretty much solo. I didn't have very many people up in Washington that would go out with me, so it was
really.
I'd roll by myself, and I wouldn't go too far. I think the farthest trip I did was to Mount St. Helens, which is, I think, a 5-hour drive from where I was at. But now that I'm down here, we have such a big crew that you can find anybody to come with you.
Right.
Which is really nice, because it's more fun to have people at base camp with you.
It is, yeah. It's a pretty fun group sometimes. Yeah. All right. And so tell us about some of the characters that you roll with are interesting fellas that we plan to have some of them on the show at some point too.
I heard you were going to have Zach on.
I want to have Zach.
Good luck with that.
Tell us about Zach.
Zach is a interesting character. He's a good guy. He drives a olive green FJ Cruiser.
Right. ODFJ. It's like ODFJ.
ODFJ on the forums and on Instagram. Yeah. And that kid just beats on that FJ. He does not care. He puts that thing into the snowbanks. He'll put it on 2 wheels. I got a text from him this morning, actually. Oh, dude, yesterday we jumped the FJ. It was awesome. I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, he told me one time he was out I think it was out in Lovelock, and they were cruising down that dirt road, and he hugged the FJ before he got his coilovers. Completely destroyed the front end, because they had that really weird design where it's like a little peg that connects the lower control arm.
Really?
Just bent it, and he's like, I limped it all the way to I think it was like AutoZone or something, and they did like completely rebuilt it in the parking lot of AutoZone at like 11 o'clock at night.
I hadn't heard about that one.
Oh yeah, you'll have to have him tell you about that story, because it's a good one.
And then the other guy that we definitely want to have on the show is JM.
Yeah, if you can understand him.
Yeah, that might be difficult, but
He's a fun character. He drives a very budgeted Kia Sportage.
Kia Sportage, yeah, it's totally awesome. He's got a fridge slide in it. Last time I saw him, he had his spare tire in the passenger seat. I
offered to carry it for him, but he just wouldn't let me.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, no, he's also very ballsy. He doesn't care. He'll go and do whatever.
Well, it's just it's just a Sportage, but it was him and full-size Jeeves that won the overland.
Yeah, it was. They both bought their rigs for under $500 or $1,000.
Yeah.
And so we called them Team 500, and they won, which was just amazing. Well. So, but it was fun.
So tell us about your overlanding vehicle at this point.
So at this point, I'm in a 2008 Ram 1500. It's got the Hemi in it. I've had it for, I think, going on 4 years now. And the first 2 I used it just as like my daily driver. Never really thought about off-roading it, and then I was like, you know what, I can throw some big tires on it and lift it a little bit, and I started doing that, and then it just kind of trickled into, now I'm on Fox coilovers running 35s on an inch of lift and trimming every body part.
Really?
Yep, trimming every body part I can to make it fit.
Right.
I'm starting to tear my my inner fender, the metal, the sheet, my fenders, because every time I land, whenever I jump it just pulls a little bit, so they're starting to pinch. So.
Can you just put bump stops on to prevent that?
Yeah, I'm working on figuring out how to mount hydro bump stops front and back, because those coilovers are a little soft for the weight of the Hemi.
Oh, okay. Well, hydro bump stops, tell us what that is.
So basically they're a lot like your regular rubber bump stops, but instead of just being like a solid piece of rubber, they kind of are like a shock where they contract. So when they contact your lower control arm, it'll absorb it instead of just be like a hard jarring like stop. Is it
actually like a shock? I mean,
yeah, it's
a little telescoping.
Yeah, I think they're like 6 inches long, and when you hit them, they just compress a little bit, and it's really hard to compress them, so they make a smoother landing. So
cool.
Yeah,
there's those. I've seen those, and somebody makes active. Was it Timberin? I think makes a rubber bump stop that they call an active bump stop.
I actually, when I first bought my truck, I was doing a lot of towing, so I bought those, and they're think they're about, again, like 6 inches, just a straight rubber, and they were great, but I would never use them for off-roading.
You don't think?
Well, for the rear ones they made for my truck, I wouldn't, but it's hard to find front bump stops for the Dodge. Not many people are making parts for the Dodge, or at least my year, because when they came out, overlanding and off-roading really wasn't a big thing in the truck scene, so it's hard to find. So I'm doing a lot of custom work and like special order stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would think the 1500 would be a pretty decent vehicle for overlanding. I mean, it's got the IFS, which is less than ideal for four-wheeling, but it's pretty nice for overlanding.
That's one thing Zach and I have gone back and forth about because I've been thinking about trying to sell the Dodge, but and moving to something with the solid axle, but for the stuff we do, it's almost better to have that IFS because it's a smoother ride and
it's really comfortable.
I mean, you don't get a lot of flex and articulation from it, but like you got lockers for that,
Yeah.
Who needs articulation when you've got lockers?
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you have any lockers in it right now?
Right now I have a limited slip, but I'm looking at putting a Eaton Detroit locker in the rear.
Okay.
Just a mechanical one.
Right.
Yeah. Because like I said, it's hard to find parts for the Chrysler 9 1/4 in the rear.
Really?
Yeah, the ARB doesn't make anything for it, so it's pretty much mechanical or LSD.
So maybe in the future we'll do an episode on lockers. This, just for the listeners, a locking differential is something that prevents one wheel and an axle from spinning freely when it loses traction and basically robbing traction from the other wheel. So it forces both wheels to spin together, and you get a lot more traction that way. And at least around Reno, you may experience a situation in the wintertime where you're trying to start up in a parking lot and one side is on the pavement and one side's on ice.
Oh yeah.
And in a truck, at least like an old school truck like my 4Runner and your Dodge, the wheel on the ice is going to spin and you're not going to go anywhere. And a locker will make the other wheel spin.
Yeah.
We'll get more technical at some point in the future. I don't know if anybody needs it. If anybody doesn't know that and doesn't know how to use Google.
There's a lot of videos on YouTube
There
about
are.
locking versus open differentials.
Yep.
You can find something.
So you got a crew cab pickup truck with a bed, regular size bed.
Yep, short bed.
How do you carry your gear in that?
I just throw everything in there and strap it down. Hopefully it stays in.
Right.
I've lost a cooler too from going a little too hot
Bouncing out?
Bouncing out. Yeah. So I've learned to strap things down pretty well.
The cooler is the one thing you don't want to lose. I mean, you can lose the sleeping bags.
Yeah, exactly.
don't lose the
That
cooler.
beer, you can't go back and buy more
precious.
beer. Yeah.
What? So you just throw it in there and strap it down. I mean, my last guest was a family of 5 traveling in a 4Runner. You're solo.
Yeah, I mean, I go with friends, but I'm the only one in my rig, so
Right.
I utilize that the crew cab, and I usually put the stuff I don't want like people to see inside the cab, so I usually leave my guns and stuff inside the cab, stowed under the seat. And
Right.
I usually keep my sleeping bag and pillow inside so it doesn't get dirty.
Get dusty, yeah.
Because those roads are real dusty out here.
They are.
Yeah.
100% dust out here. So what's your food situation? What do you like to eat in the backcountry?
I like to mix it up. Sometimes I'll cook, but it depends really when I get to camp. Like when we did the checking for points for the rally, Zach, JM, and Donald and we went out, and I think we finally got to camp at like 4 a.m. or something like that. And at that point, I was just like, I'm just gonna make some top ramen and call it good.
Right.
But if I'm out there and I'm like staying for a day or two, I'll cook a full meal, bring some stuff like pasta is easy.
Right.
Just something easy. I'm not I've got just the regular like Coleman stove that every dad has. So
yeah.
I mean, you can cook a lot on that. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's dad has one, and they work great. So
yeah. Propane, I assume.
Propane. Yeah.
And sometimes you use a jet boil too, don't you?
I do. Yes, I'm a big fan of the jet boil.
Now the jet boil is I've actually got when the jet boil first came out. It was a while ago. So it was like 2003 or 2004. This was before Kickstarter. So I actually purchased it. I think I may have pre-ordered it, but I purchased it from them.
They're great.
And so it's a little stove. There's a little can of it's propane butane mix in a little can, and then there's a burner that screws onto the can. That's just like any other burner. I mean, the burner's not special, but then the pot
itself
nests in that. You sit the pot down and nest in. It's an aluminum pot with a
sleeve on it.
With a neoprene sleeve and then a heat exchanger at the bottom.
Yep.
And so basically it'll boil
Whatever
a liter,
you want.
not a liter, but
I think it's
almost a
close
liter.
to a liter. Yeah.
It'll boil almost a liter of water in
Just a
in
few
90 seconds. Yeah.
It's fast.
It works real well for
Mountain House meals.
Mountain House. Yeah.
I do that all the time.
You can cook in them, but it's not recommended.
I one time I cooked some soup in it, and I totally forgot I was cooking because I was preoccupied fishing, and it just fried it to the bottom.
Yep.
So I was sitting there with a fork trying to scrape it out.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
They also have. I like the coffee coffee press attachment. Sometimes I'll take that as coffee as a coffee solution, because a lot of times when we travel, we don't actually cook a breakfast. We'll just have cold stuff, so I don't have to get a stove out.
Yep, exactly. I'm not a big fan of cooking breakfast. I'll do like instant coffee, just to get me up and out.
I'll do instant coffee if it's just me, but my wife likes it.
I've got a gutter palate, so I can drink whatever kind of
Did
coffee.
you say gutter palate?
I do. Yeah.
Gutter palate. That's a new one.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question. Where do you sleep?
So I've actually done a couple different setups for sleeping in my truck. When I first started, I got one of the truck bed tents.
Right.
And it was cool for a while, but having to take everything out of your truck bed and then sweep it out to set it up was kind of annoying after a while.
Right.
And they make it so, well, at least when your truck is lifted, it's really hard to get like the poles set up.
How does it work? It's not just a canopy, it's got a under.
Yeah, so it's got a floor in it. So you basically like lay it in, and then they've got straps that hook down underneath your like quarter panels. And then you just run poles across, and then it's just like a regular tent from there. But there's usually one that goes over from like your opening, and you have to like find a way to get up and on it and without getting on the tent, and it makes it really difficult. So I had that for a while, and then I was tired of setting it up, and then one of the poles broke, and I was like, you know what? It's my birthday, so I bought myself a Kodiak swag, and I've been using that since March. And
so what's a swag? Tell us about that.
Basically, it's a little canvas coffin almost. I'm 6'4" and 250 pounds, so I'm a big dude. So I don't fit all that well in it, but it's made of canvas. It's waterproof, snowproof, windproof. It's like 2 poles, fast setup, really small. If you look up Ronnie Dahl, he uses them all the time.
Right, yeah, I've seen him. So it's does it have a pad attached to it?
So it's not attached. So the bottom is that like PVC rubber stuff.
Okay.
And then they give you like a 2-inch foam pad. But I mean, now that I've used it, I think I've gone out about 15 nights in it. The foam's starting to wear out, so I think I'm going to buy a memory foam pad and throw it in.
Well, you should check and see what the dimensions are, and then cross-reference. Like, I would recommend the X-Bed pads. Yeah. But any, cross-reference any, inflatable pad or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's not very big. I think it's like 7 feet long and like 38 wide or something like that.
That's pretty wide.
Yeah.
That's pretty wide.
I mean, I'm a wide dude, so it is nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went with Zach and one of his buddies, Chris. We went up to the El Dorado Forest a few weeks ago, and I got a text from him. It's like 6 o'clock, and he's like, "Hey, come camping this night." I was like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Oh, over in El Dorado." I was like, "Dude, I'm working until 10 tonight. Like, it's gonna take me a while to get there." He's like, "So?" Yeah. So I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll come out." And I run home, not thinking. I literally grabbed the jet boil, my swag, and that was it.
No sleeping bag.
No sleeping bag. And I luckily had like a blanket in my truck, and so I'm sitting there freezing because it's just so cold in the shade over there. And I woke up and was like shaking, almost hypothermic. And Zach was like, "Well, that's what you get." And I was like, "Thanks, bud."
Well, you got all that space. You just need to have it ready to go 24/7. Right?
I know, right? Yeah. That's the only thing is that I wish I had like one of the caps for it so I could lock it down and leave it in there. But maybe that'll be the next purchase.
Yeah, next birthday. How about?
Yeah. Just change it up every year.
Right. You can do a Kickstarter or something.
There you go. Yeah.
So, the swags, like, is the Kodiak, is it a one size fits all thing?
Yeah, they only sell one size. So I think there's only a couple that are sold in the U.S. There's the Kodiak, and then I think Outback swag are the only ones that are sold.
Outback.
Yeah. So it's the same ones that it's just differently branded, but it's been great.
It's like wax. Is it wax canvas or just straight up canvas?
Just straight up canvas. So when you buy it, in order to I think they call it weatherproof it, you just hose it down like any rainstorm. So then the fibers swell and then they all contract and hold together.
Oh, okay.
And so I haven't had a single problem getting wet. No dew buildup, and the wind doesn't affect it at all, which is really nice up here.
And how do you get into it? Is it
It's a zip. No, it's actually a top zip. So
Okay.
it basically zips around the perimeter, and then you can climb in the side.
Okay. So it's not like a bivy sack which we discussed with Harry.
No.
Where you have
It's a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, some bivy sacks are almost like swags. They'll have tents poles going over. But they're almost universally hard to get into.
Yeah. No, these ones are pretty easy. I mean, they come with 3 poles that you can use, but I pretty much only do the 2 ends because that middle pole does make it a little difficult to get inside.
Oh, okay.
But
cool.
Yeah.
So we're at the question. We're at the good one.
Yep.
Where do you poop?
I'm a cat hole man myself.
Cat holes?
Yeah, cat holes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just easier.
Tell us a little bit about your method for
grab a tree.
Sanitary.
Well,
just like obviously you don't go right in the middle of camp.
No. I make sure I'm far away. I usually go like maybe 100 yards from camp, just so no one needs to no one wants to find some like white flowers,
No.
So.
And so then, like, how deep should people be digging down?
6 to 8 inches or so. That's what I usually do.
Okay.
Yeah, nice and deep.
Yep. And do you prefer turn over a rock or obviously rock is the
up here? Yeah, rock.
Yeah.
I used to go and I would hold onto a tree. My last up in Washington, that was the easiest way to do it.
You gotta get those hips nice and limber. So
you do. Yeah.
And squat down.
Yeah.
How much more mileage can we squeeze out of this question?
I don't know. Keep going though, Mike. Keep going.
Yeah. I'm surprised almost everybody's done cat hole so far.
I've seen those ones where people make the buckets and stuff, but I don't know. That just doesn't seem very clean to me. Like, I don't want to bag it up and hold on to it.
I don't want to do that either. Yeah. I do want to. I'm looking for somebody who's uses a one of the porta potties, one of them, either cassette or chemical toilet or something. I just want to learn more about that.
Goes. Have you seen the hitch potty?
The bumper dumper.
The bumper dumper. Yeah, those are so funny. I mean, tempting, but I don't have to move my truck every time.
Right. So, well, I don't want to move my truck, and I don't necessarily want to go
right there,
right next to the truck. Because chances. Well, at least with my crew,
you got kids.
Yeah. There's always somebody in the truck.
No,
if it's moving, there's somebody in it.
That's true.
All right, let's talk about recovery gear. So you're mostly overlander, but you do some riskier stuff.
Yeah.
What do you carry?
That's what happens when you're friends with Zach.
Yeah, Zach is kind of a disaster on wheels, huh?
Yeah, that's one word to describe him. I bought the Amazon knockoff of the Max Tracks.
Right.
I tried them actually with Zach when we went to did that big meetup in Pismo. We purposely got the Dodge stuck just to see how they would hold up, and they worked fine. 2-wheel drive. I did a brake stand, so I dug myself to my rear axle.
Right.
And just scooped the sand out a little bit, put him down, and I climbed right out in 2-wheel drive, even in the soft dune sand.
Interesting. So tell us a little bit more about what this is. A traction mat.
Yes, they're a traction mat. They're just like the Max Tracks boards, but they're like a cheaper knockoff version of them.
So the Max, it's like a meter long, and it's plastic.
It's got some spikes on it,
some ribs and nubs.
They grab onto your tires, so when you're stuck, you can just pull yourself right out.
They seem to work. From the videos I see, they seem to work pretty well in the sand. I can't say that I've seen a whole lot of success with them in mud and snow.
JM got stuck when we did our run to Uncle Tom's cabin last winter, and he tried them, and they didn't work, so he had to get winched out instead.
Did they just get spit out?
Yeah, it depends how you get stuck, but yeah, I think it was just they couldn't grab onto the board because it was so cold that his tires were hard, and it just made it difficult to get in there and grab onto them.
Right. And have you had occasion to use those?
Not yet.
Any other time?
No, not yet.
Except for on purpose?
No, I haven't gotten stuck yet. I got the 12.5 wide tire, so I float pretty well.
Yeah,
makes it easy.
So what else do you
I think we talked about it before. I think it was with Henry, the Kinetic straps.
Kinetic rope, yeah.
I learned about those when we did the Uncle Tom's trip. Zach had it, and I got stuck, and he yanked me out.
Right.
And it was a lot prettier than with a regular strap.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a nice little give to it, so you kind of can get ready, and it's a lot easier on your truck. And
right.
It doesn't just yank you out.
So the Kinetic Strap, I carry it. Everybody's carried it so far that we've talked to. I think it'd be one of my number one recommendations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think my number one would be a good set of traction pads, because if you're out by yourself, the Bubba Rope's not going to do you any good.
That's true.
But if you're out with a group, if you're always out with a group, get a Bubba Rope. That would be the first thing I'd buy.
Right. What do you carry for attaching the Bubba Rope?
Well, I did have a couple D-rings, but I forgot to take them off after I used them, so they kind of unrattled themselves from my truck.
Oh,
and
they fell off.
They're somewhere out in the Nevada wilderness. But actually, did you meet Scott, who drives the 2500,
Yep.
the diesel? So we went to Pyramid a few weeks ago, and we were leaving camp, and he got stuck in the soft sand, and so he had to use me as the winch, and I didn't have anything, so we used one of the soft shackles. And so I got some experience with that, and that is the way to go with those.
Soft shackles.
Yeah, they're, like you said, they're a big hardened nub, and then they just fit over, and it's just the tensile pulling strength is what keeps them together. And so it's the big nub, and it just like fits between the sleeve, and then so when they pull, they're stuck together.
Right.
And it's a lot better than having to deal with a D-ring that gets locked up every time you use it.
Yeah, soft shackles. I need to put that on my list of things to get.
Yeah,
they're a lot safer, and
they are.
I think.
Yeah, they're nice to have, and I mean they're light. They're really light. I mean,
super cool.
You got to think about, it's just a D-ring, but if you add up all your weight, like that's getting like that 2 pounds is going to make a big difference overall, especially when a lot of people load up their rig. So weight is always a big concern when you're overlanding.
For sure.
Yeah.
So tell us about personal hygiene. Are you a shower guy or a lake guy?
Well, usually I actually just don't even bother, because I mean,
right on.
I'm only out for 2 days, so I can go 2 days without a shower.
Yeah, for sure.
So I usually shower the morning I'm leaving, and then I shower when I get back.
Right.
And since I'm only out for a few days, it's not a big deal. But if there is a stream, I'll probably jump in.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not a big priority for me.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
I'm always in favor of just being dirty.
Yep. It's not going to kill you.
No.
Yeah.
No. What do you use for communication on the trail?
So far I've only used CB and the FRS. I like the FRS better than CB for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier, it's smaller, and the CB just seems to be always on the fritz.
It does. Yeah.
I mean, I think when we went to Pig Rock that day, we used it, and it was like I heard every third word you said.
Really?
So yeah. But the FRS, you get like 32 miles out of them of range, and they're pretty good for how small they are.
That's nominal, but the one issue I have with FRS is when we did that rally, I could hear the other group with it was the two dudes in the Forerunners.
That was Frank and Eugene, I think.
Yeah, it was Frank and Eugene. So I could hear them, but they must have had their privacy code on because they couldn't hear me.
Oh, really?
so they didn't know that I was listening.
Oh, that was such a fun trip.
It was.
Yeah. No, I'd like to get the ham license, but I mean, I don't have time.
Yeah, well, you're in school, you're studying, you got other things going on.
Yeah, I'm taking my national test for my EMT beginning of September.
Cool.
So.
We'll have to have you back on to talk about backcountry emergency medical stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Basics, what you should know, what you should have.
Right. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Once I get through the first 10 episodes of stuff like this, then we'll move on to that. Yeah. Episodes like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be good to have. That's good knowledge that everybody should have.
Yeah, for sure.
Basic stuff, because stuff goes wrong out there. Like you can't predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I went to Pig Rock a few weeks ago to go camp by myself, and I saw a huge rattlesnake, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go stand over here instead. Let you slither on by. I'm by myself. I don't need to get bit today."
Right.
Yeah.
I saw that picture. That was
it was
cool.
a big snake.
I love rattlesnakes, man. Some people are scared to death of them. Obviously, you don't want to mess with them, but
they're pretty docile.
I enjoy seeing them.
Yeah.
What do you use for navigation on the trail?
Usually when I go with people, they kind of know where they're going, so we give directions over the CB or the radios. So, but if I'm by myself, I just use my phone, and I use the Motion X app and this other one called Maps.me.
Maps.me.
And they're both free. I actually prefer the Maps over the Motion X. It's just a lot easier to read when you're on the trail, and it's got a more usable interface, I think.
I use Motion X as well.
Yeah.
I found it difficult to figure out how to download
your
sections.
Points and stuff. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's nice that it tracks your like your waypoints and everything, but I mean, that's the only thing that it has above the other app, in my opinion.
Right.
It's just it's a more usable interface. It's a lot clearer of a map. So
Motion X has been around a while. I got
It
that.
has, yeah.
I don't know, a long time ago. When I my first smartphone, I think I got that, and I still have it.
Yeah, it's a good app. I'll give them that. They've created a really good app for your backcountry use, but it's just a little clunky in my opinion.
It is.
Yeah,
it works well enough. But I paid $10 for it.
Yeah, exactly.
10 years ago, so I'm sticking with it.
Sticking with it. Yeah, I mean, I do want to look into I think it's Gaia.
Gaia.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us or a lot of the guys run that. So
that's what the guys were winning with at the rally was Gaia.
Yeah, so
I blame my maps.
Yeah, I mean, JM uses it all the time, and I mean, it's hard to get him to give us the waypoints we tell him to, but I think he just wants to hoard them for himself.
Yeah, when people find a spot they like, they don't have to share it outside their network.
Exactly.
What other non-driving activities do you like to do on your overlanding trips?
I like to go fishing. It's just relaxing.
Yeah.
Go kayaking. I like to camp by water.
Yep.
Is my thing. So I'll try to find a spot that's either near water or river or just something. So
that's
just
challenging
hanging
in
out.
Nevada.
It is. Yeah, it is. Big fan of beer drinking.
Right.
Gun shooting, but not together.
Not together. You like shooting on your own?
Yeah. No, I like shooting not while I'm drinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Beer drinking and then shooting.
Yeah, exactly. Or shooting and then beer drinking.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got some shooting in some of your videos. You find a nice safe spot and pick up your brass.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Always pick up your brass. I mean, even if you don't repack it, it's just a nice thing to do. And that way we can keep these areas open for us to keep going to.
Yeah, the Nevada is kind of full of shot up things.
Everything is always shot up here. I've noticed that. But yeah, I mean, I also like taking photos and obviously shooting videos for the YouTube.
Yep.
But I mean, normal guy, like to do fun things.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
What are your plans for your YouTube channel? What do you hope to do with that?
Just try to make it a little bit bigger. I think I just passed 400 subscribers a couple days ago, so that was a big milestone. The last video I did was, I think it's sitting right under 17,000 views, which is pretty good.
Which was that, the budget one?
Yeah, how to overland on a budget.
17,000, that's great.
Even with the terrible audio that it had.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my next paycheck, I'm buying a new mic, so they won't have that problem again.
Nope.
But, I mean, I'm a college student, so I don't have very much money to spend on a big camera, so I shoot on my phone and I edit the video on my phone. So
oh, cool.
Yeah, it's all on iMovie.
It looks pretty great for
I mean,
iMovie.
the iPhones are pretty good quality. I'll give them that. Their cameras are pretty good.
They are. You have a GoPro too, right?
I do. I have the very first GoPro they ever made.
Really?
I had that one forever, and then I think it was like 2 or 3 months ago, I was on eBay looking at new ones, and I found a manufacturer refurbished the Session. Got it for $100. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can spend that money. I'm good with that. But the quality is a lot better now.
Right.
Yeah.
The GoPros, the new GoPros are pretty great as far as kind of like I say, it's the camera that I always wish the GoPro was in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had every single one of them.
Yeah. I mean, the app connection is great. The video quality, the photo quality is great. And,
right.
I mean, you can get the GoPro Studio and edit it all together, and it's all free.
Yeah, I haven't used the studio,
nice.
but
it's
this is what we're watching. We're recording the podcast right now. If you're listening on the podcast app, obviously you don't care, but we're recording it on a GoPro Hero 5 Black, which I think I scorched the lens with the welder once, but welding sparks or grinder sparks or something.
When we were at the Overland Rally, I was taking pictures of the flames because when we threw that huge log on, I thought that would be a good idea. I got really close and I burned my lens on my old one. Yeah.
Well, you can replace them, so
yeah.
Yeah, it was at the rally. They had a big fire, and we left when the rally started. And at one point, they put a giant tree on the fire.
It was like, I think the tree was it must have been 3 feet tall. And
I think
huge. It was like 6 feet wide. The thing was huge. Yeah, we just threw it on there, rolled it up, and
right. And by the time we got back, it was gone.
Yeah, that stuff burned real quick.
It burned quick.
Yeah.
It's like a big piece of cottonwood or something.
Yeah, it was cool. Good old Zach.
Yeah,
that's his idea.
All right. Well, just like that, we're rolling into camp, and our journey for today is over. Please do yourself a favor and check out Full Size Overland on YouTube and Trucker Biz on Instagram. Alex, thanks again for chatting with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, if you have any questions or comments for me or my guests, please post a comment on the show notes on our website, allterrainpodcast.com, where you'll find any links mentioned in the show, as well as videos, trip reports, and more. You can also find us on Instagram at allterrainpodcast. And All Terrain Podcast was created, produced, engineered, edited, and managed by me, Mike Henderson. Special thanks to Chris Webster from the Archaeology Podcast Network, who once again took time out of his day to help me fix the audio for this recording. And Colin Loretz of the Overwatch Hero Podcast, who's also been a great help to me over the years. This podcast is recorded here live. Well, not live. It's not live. It's recorded here at the Reno Collective, a co-working community in Reno, Nevada. Learn more at renocollective.com. These microphones are supplied by Colin Loretz, and the soundboard over here belongs to Chris Webster.